Hello everyone. So in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the shape, size and classification of bricks. So let us first of all discuss about the shape and the dimensions of the brick. So conventionally, if we want to form a correlation between the dimensions of the brick, a general correlation is that the length of the brick is 2 times the width of the brick plus the thickness of the mortar if used, and the height of the brick is equals to width of the brick. Now, as per Indian Standard Code, the standard size of the brick is 19 into 9 into 9 centimeter, 19 being the length, 9 being the width, and 9 centimeter being the height of the brick. Likewise, another standard size of the brick as per Indian Standard Code is 19 centimeter into 9 centimeter into 4 centimeter. Right? These standard dimensions are called bricks of these standard dimensions are called as modular bricks. So if you are talking about the modular bricks, it is understandable that the bricks are of these dimension. Now, another provision as per the Indian Standard Code is that if we have the hand molded bricks of height 90 mm and 70 mm, then there should be a provision of applying the frog of depth 10 mm to 20 mm on the top side of the brick. Okay, so your frog is the depression on the top surface of the brick. Right, the purpose of providing frog is to have a better bonding with the mortar. Right, so your frog is provided on the bricks of 90 mm or 70 mm height. The depth of this frog is 10 mm to 20 mm. If the height of the brick is 40 mm, then no provision of application of frog is there. That is, if you have a brick of height 40 mm, then there is no need of making frog on the surface of the brick. Now, if mortar is used for the bonding purposes, right, brick is used for the construction of variety of structures, for maybe wall or houses or etc. Right, so to bond each brick we use mortar, right? So with mortar, dimension of the brick becomes 20 into 10 into 10 centimeter, right? So basically we have the brick of dimension 19 into 9 into 9 centimeter. Right, now uh, thickness of 1 mm thick mortar is also considered around it. Right, so with this 1 centimeter is added to each of the dimensions, so the length becomes 20 centimeter, the height becomes 10 centimeter, and the width becomes 10 centimeter. Right, here in this image the top surface is not coated, right, it is exposed to see. Right, conventionally plastering is done, so with this the top surface is also fully covered. Right, so with the mortar the dimensions become 20 into 10 into 10 centimeter. Otherwise, the standard dimension of the brick is 19 into 9 into 9 centimeter. Okay. So now let us discuss some different forms of brick. So first of all, we will discuss about the ordinary brick. Now, the standard dimensions that we have discussed just now comes under the category of ordinary bricks, right? As per the IS code 19 into 9 into 9 centimeter, this is considered as a standard size and hence are normally termed as ordinary bricks. Then we have queen closure bricks, and basically when we cut a standard size brick into half along the length, right, it is very important to know when we cut a standard size brick in equal half along the length, then such kind of bricks are called as queen closure brick. Okay, so when we say that we are using queen closure brick, it means the brick has been cut along the length into equal halves. The purpose of queen closure is for bonding purposes and to close the bonds that we are going to study in the subsequent lectures. Okay, then we have king closure brick. Basically, when we cut each dimensions of the brick in half, right? So we have the length and we have the width. So half of the length and half of the width is removed from the standard size brick. So the remaining brick that is left is called as king closure brick. Okay, so when we cut brick half along the length, half along the width, so we have a triangle which is removed from the brick, and the remaining brick is called as king closure brick. Then we have bull nose brick, and bull nose bricks are more of a special molded bricks where the rounded angle is there in the one corner. Okay, this can be either in the vertical or in the horizontal direction, right? So one of the edges of the brick is rounded. So if this is the case, then we have such kind of brick are called as bull nose brick, and these are used for the coins, that is to shape up the external angle of the wall or building. So we this is our bull nose brick, and these are our coins, right? The exterior angle of the structure, right? Coins are the external angle of wall or building, so these are the exterior angles called as coins. Okay, then we have cow nose bricks. So in the cow nose brick, basically what happens is both sides are rounded. Okay, when both sides are rounded, then such kind of bricks are called as cow nose bricks. So this should be bricks, right? So in your bull nose only one side is rounded, while in your cow nose both side is rounded. Then we have channel bricks or gutter bricks. So these type of bricks are identified by their high strength glazed appearance, right? So these are used for the lining of your canals or gutters, right, or of the pathways. Then we have coping bricks, and when the width of the brick is greater than the width of the wall, then such kind of bricks that are used are called as coping bricks, right? So basically if you observe, as can be seen here, that the width of the brick that is being used has higher dimension than the wall itself, right? You can see the bricks are coming out of the width of the wall, right? So such kind of bricks are called as coping bricks. We have variety of shapes that are available as coping bricks, and the general purpose of using these bricks is for decorative purposes, right, to improve the aesthetic appearance of the wall or the building. Then we have perforated bricks, and the bricks that have large number of holes or cavities are called as perforated bricks, and these type of bricks are used for the insulating purposes, right? Another property is that they can dry very easily. Then we have hollow bricks, and hollow bricks are when the core of the brick is completely hollow, then such kind of bricks are called as hollow bricks. These are light in weight and again are used for insulating purposes. So these are some of the variety of bricks, right? So they are depending upon the shape, n number of bricks are available. In this lecture, the most commonly used and most commonly asked bricks are referred. Okay. So next we have classification of bricks. So classification bricks are done in number of ways. The first category is based upon the physical and the mechanical properties. So in this, the first one is first class brick, and from the name itself we can assume the first class brick will be of superior quality, right? They have a very uniform shape and are very uniformly burnt throughout, right? And because of which they have very deep red, cherry or copper color, right? They have very uniform colored texture. They are smooth, rectangular, sharp and straight edges and square corners. That is, they have a very uniform, well defined shape and a very uniform texture, right? They do not have any crack, and upon scratching the surface with the fingernail there is no impression. So this is a standard or a layman test for judging the hardness properties of the brick, right? So if we in the first class brick, upon scratching the surface of the brick with a fingernail, there is no impression. And when we break these kind of bricks, there is no lumps of lime available, right, or visible. Upon banging these first class brick, metallic ringing sound is heard, and the water absorption is around 12 to 15% of the dry weight when immersed in cold water for 24 hours. The crushing strength of this brick is greater or equal to 10 Newton per mm square, right? So these are some of the properties of the first class brick. And since these are good quality bricks, so basically these are used for some superstructures. They're used for masonry work where the surface will be exposed to some extreme weather conditions, right? So some all the good quality works in those the first class bricks are used. And then we have second class bricks, and in second class bricks the properties are somewhat inferior to that of first class brick, right? Small cracks and distortion can be visible, right? The water absorption is comparatively higher water absorption means that more pores are available, right? Because of which the strength will be somewhat less, right? So a higher water absorption of around 16 to 20% of its dry weight is there, and the crushing strength is 7 Newton per mm square, right? So a bit inferior than the first class brick. And in general works, a second class brick can be used. It can be used for reinforced cement concrete. It can be used for general masonry work, etc. And then we have another class that is called as third class brick. And third class bricks are more or less underburnt, right? So when we discussed about the structures that are used for the burning of bricks, we discussed about burning in clamp, right? So in that we discussed that there are bricks at the top level, which are dependent upon the hot gases for the burning, right? And usually these type of bricks remain unburnt. So these unburnt bricks comes under the category of third class brick. And because of not properly being burned, these are identified with uh, light colored, right? And upon banging these type of bricks together, we have very dull sound. And being somewhat inferior in quality, the water absorption is around 25% of the dry weight. And these type of bricks are used for some temporary structures, right? So suppose if we are if the construction is going on, and some temporary structures need to be constructed on site, then third class bricks can be used, right? For heavy duty work, these type of bricks cannot be used. Then we have fourth class brick, and fourth class bricks are oven burnt again. We discussed when we were discussing about the structures that are used for the burning of bricks. And overburnt bricks are again of no use, right? They are badly distorted in shape and exhibit a very extremely brittle nature, right? And because of this, they are again not they cannot be used for some heavy duty or some general work purposes, right? And these type of bricks are basically used as a ballast for the foundation of the floor or for the road materials, right? So here are example of the different classes of bricks. So we have first class brick. You can see very well uniform shape, very good color is there, right? And also exhibit a very uniform texture. While the second class brick, you can see these are somewhat inferior differences available is visible. Of course they have good shape, but you can see the difference in the color. Likewise, strength is also somewhat inferior, but still can be used in the ordinary work purposes. Then we have third class brick and the fourth class brick, and the difference can be very easily visible. We have distorted shape all around, right? You can see we have distorted shape all around. We have lot of pores are there, and because of lots of pores, the water absorption is also higher, and the strength is somewhat inferior, right? So these are example of your first class, second class, third class, and fourth class brick. Then we have classification of bricks on the basis of strength. And again, as per Bureau of Indian Standards, we have the following table in which the classification of the brick is based upon the compressive strength is done. The code is IS 1077. So we have bricks classified as 35, 30, 25, 20, right? So this means if we say we are using class 35 brick, this means that the average compressive strength of the brick will be 35 or higher. Okay, if you are saying that we are using uh, class 15 brick, this means the average compressive strength of the brick will be 15 or higher. We also have class 40 brick, which have the compressed strength more than 40 Newton per mm square, right? And these type of bricks are also called as heavy duty bricks because they are used for extremely heavy load taking structures like bridges, foundation, etc. Right? And the water absorption of such kind of brick is less than or equal to 5. Um, Apart from these, each of these class can be divided into class A and class B, subclass A and subclass B based upon the tolerance in shape and size. So in the code itself, a table is given for the tolerance. So if the length is of the brick is 380 centimeter, right, a tolerance of around plus minus 12 is given. 380 centimeter tolerance of around plus minus 12 mm is given, right, and likewise, for width and height, the tolerance value is given. So if the tolerance value is within this limit, then they come under subclass A. If the tolerance value is in this range, so the dimension is 380 centimeter for 380 centimeter length brick. If the dimension is plus 30 mm or minus 30 mm, then it will come under subclass B. So based upon that, we have subclass A and subclass B. Apart from that, some other categories are also there for the identification of bricks. So we have on the basis of use, we have common bricks, and as the name suggests, these are used for the general purposes for the construction of the structures, for the backfilling walls, etc. Right? Then we have facing bricks, and these brick type of bricks are used for the aesthetic purposes to make the building or the structure or the construction work more beautiful, right? Then we have engineering bricks, and these are like extremely good quality bricks with a superior strength, impermeable, right, or conventionally table mounted. And these engineer bricks are mostly used for take up the load, right? So these are such kind of bricks are comes under the category of engineering. Then we have on the basis of finish, and on that we have sand phase brick and rustic brick. So this type of bricks are identified by your sand phase brick, basically sprinkling texture is there, and your rustic brick have a very uniform and a very finished pattern. On the basis of manufacturing, we have hand molded brick and machine molded brick, which we have discussed in the previous lecture. So you can refer for those lectures for much detail. Okay. Then on the basis of burning, we have pale bricks, we have body bricks, and we have arc brick. Right. Your pale bricks basically are underburnt, right, because of which the pale color is visible. We have body bricks; these are burned to the desired quantity, and then we have arc bricks which are overburnt. Okay, then we have the classification on the basis of the amount of perforation or the holes available on the surface of the brick. So a brick can be termed as solid brick if you have small holes that do not exceed 25% of the volume of the brick, right? And the or the frog not exceeding 20% of the total volume of the brick. So these comes under category of solid brick. So all the first class brick can be identified as the solid brick. Then we have perforated bricks where the small pores or the holes can exceed 25% of the total volume of bricks. Then we have hollow bricks where total holes may exceed 25% of the volume of bricks, right? These holes are not small holes, right? So your small holes are the holes that are less than 20 mm or less than 50 mm squares in cross section, right? So hollow bricks, basically they are larger hole, that is the holes who are more than 20 mm or greater than 50 mm square in cross section, right? Then we have cellular bricks where the larger holes exceed 20% of the total volume of the bricks. Okay, so this was the classification of bricks based upon the various parameters. Okay, so this was all for this lecture. So I hope the lecture was clear to you and served its desired purpose. If this is the case, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for the daily notification. Do press the bell icon. Okay, if you have any doubt, do ask in the comment section. So that is for today. Thank you.